Hey everybody, Shawn here from theautomationschool.com, and in today's episode of The Automation Show, we're going to take a look at using Data Highway 485 cables. How do we connect a computer to a Data Highway 485 network? What are the options? What works? What doesn't? And all that. Now I'm going to step aside here. You can see I've done a lot of work here on the Studio B demo board, and I even got a nice little DH-485 network going there. And you know, that's just a great way to access micro 1000s, micro 1200s, 1500s. Put them on a nice little 485 network. Now, you can also I also have Logics on there. I have my L23, I got my L6. It's really slow trying to program those over DH-485. So that's not good. But for the little micros, it's pretty cool. So in any case, what I thought I would do here, since I had to get these all up and running, is I thought I'd share with you how you do that. Now, there's 4 options here. We're going to cover them all today on the show, starting with the infamous PIC module. This is the 1747 PIC, and this is what it looks like. And this was great when we had DOS. This worked with DOS very well, APS or AI 500. And somebody at Rockwell 20 years ago told me the reason this never worked in Windows well was because it didn't have a lot of RAM. RAM was very expensive at the time. Memory was expensive at the time when they produced that. So they opted instead for a high-speed heartbeat. And Windows, from Windows 1.0 onwards, never could service the serial port that fast. It was like this needed the heartbeat to be twice as fast as the actual COM driver for Windows could service it. And so ICOM got it working by rewriting the COM port driver for Windows. And for years after, Rockwell kept doing that. Up until I think Windows XP was the last version. They said, look, we are not rewriting the Windows serial port driver anymore. So what does that mean? That means this 1747 PIC will not work on Windows 10. It doesn't matter if you have a Windows XP VM on Windows 10. Eventually, Windows 10 is the one that's going to service the physical serial port or your USB to serial converter. And Windows 10, that serial port driver is not fast enough to account for this guy's high-speed heartbeat that he has to have. So you can pretty much count this out unless you have an old, I think the last version was XP Service Pack 2. For some reason, if memory serves me correctly, Service Pack 3 won't work with this either. But again, it has to, the operating system has to be on the computer itself. It will not work in a VM, again, unless the host system is Windows XP or older, because it needs that high-speed heartbeat. So you can take the PIC and you can just put it in a box. You won't be needing it unless you have a really old computer. So what does that leave us with? Well, there was another option out at the time. Let's see if I can hold this up to the camera here. And that is this guy. I haven't used this. Honestly, I had not used this in 20 years. I just picked it up, got a great deal on it. And you see the back here. And I got all the wires there on the floor. But basically, if you look here, we got power, standard power switch. We have where we bring in our DH-485. And then we have a 25-pin serial port. So we'll need a 25 to like one of these 25-9 adapter, and then we can go now this KF3, this is a 1770, time to put the glasses on. This is a 1770 KF3, I believe. Yeah, you can see it right there. Let's see if I can hold it up. Okay, this is great because it doesn't have a lot of dip switches. It has this label here that tells you how to set it up, and very easy to use buttons here with a little display there. I mean, I don't even have to explain how you do it because it's so easy. It was just a whiz to set up. But in any case, this will not only work with a serial port on your computer, even Windows 10. I'm running Windows 10. It'll also work through the 9300 USB-S because this is actually a DF1 to Data Highway 485 bridge. So this is a bridge. So it doesn't have that issue. It doesn't have to get directly on 485. It doesn't have to do that. It can just do regular DF1, which has never been a problem with Windows. So that's the KF3. That's the PIC. The next thing we have is the UIC. Let me move these guys over. And there's 2 versions of the UIC. Actually, there's more. Rockwell last year, I think, came out with a couple of more. I don't have them, so we'll cover the legacy ones. We have the official one from Rockwell. And then we have this very popular. I'll put a link on the screen. That'll take you right to Amazon to get this. And but there's some problems with this. Now, if we take a look at it, it comes with the USB port on one side, right? USB Type A connector. And then it also has an RJ45, like the PIC. But it also has an RS-232 port, because there are some devices out there that speak the DH-485 protocol, but over, a 9-pin D-shell connector talking 232. So I know a lot of people want to say DH-485 is RS-485. And natively, you can see right here, it is. But DH-485 is really a protocol. So it can work on RS-485 or it can work on RS-232. So that's why this has both. And then, of course, we have the official Allen Bradley version here. I have my own cable that I made up. I'll talk about that in a minute. But this is the original UIC. And you can see this has both a spot for the RJ45 and 9-pin. Okay? Now, a couple things about each of these cables. First of all, this cable used to cost a lot of money. You can now get it fairly cheaply if you search around. Having said that, I only can give this 3.5 stars because the RJ45 connection only works on a direct connect. For instance, if we direct connect it into a 503, it works great. But if I try to connect into a 1747 AIC and see the whole network, it doesn't work. I don't know why. But that is a limitation of this generic model. Now, that it's not a problem with the serial side. Okay? The serial side works whether you're connected to, directly to the controller or to an AIC to access the entire network. So that's why I give this only 3.5 stars. I mean, the RJ45 works great. The RS-232 works great, direct connect, but it won't let you get to the whole network. That is not a problem with the official Rockwell one. Now, I got this. This was a new surplus, and I got it for about the same price as this guy. And it's a great unit. It works well, except for it has one Achilles heel. They typically want you to use a 1747 C13 cable with this UIC. And the C13 is the only cable Rockwell makes where they don't have the power pins in it. So if you look at the C10 or the other cables, 1747 C cables, they all have, like, I think it's pin 3 and pin 6, is for plus and shield. That is where the 24 volts power go. And again, you can power your link coupler from your 503. If that was a 503, you can connect them together and power that through the programming port. And the reason there was even power on the programming port, because we used to be able to use handhelds back in 1990, 1991. Those were available and they needed power. They would get it from the PLC itself. So the C13 does not have those cables. Now, I know people who have successfully, and I've done it myself, not use a C13, but use a standard patch cable with this guy. That's a little scary though, because you're putting 24 volts DC into your into places where it's not supposed to go. And here's the worst part though. If you were to use a crossover cable, right, an uplink cable, a crossover cable, it will burn out this RJ45 port and it will never work again. There is no 24 volt protection on those pins. Don't even know why they put them in there, because they don't use them. It's like they shouldn't have wired those two power pins up, because they don't use them for anything, right? Like I said, the C13 doesn't even have any power pins. Wires, the RJs still have the pins on them, but the wires aren't connected. I made this one myself. There's no brown and no drain. And that's where the 24 volts, you can get a meter out. You can put a meter on there. You'll see 24 volts. They don't have those pins there. And they probably should have never wired those here on the unit. But in any case, if you plug this UIC into like a AIC with a crossover, an uplink cable, right? You will burn out that port. It'll never work again. So keep that in mind. That's the only Achilles heel for this guy. Achilles heel, I'll say. And other than that, it's a great. So you can imagine, having just bought this, I pinned out this cable like 3 times to make sure it was correct. C13s are hard to find. They wanted as much for a C13 used as this thing was used. So I said, no, I'll make my own. But in any case, let's go ahead now and connect these up one at a time. We're not going to connect up the PIC. It isn't going to work, right? But let's start with the KF3, and we'll connect it up, and I'll show you how to set it up. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've connected it up. I'm going to put it out of the way here. I actually do have a physical serial port in my computer. Now, if you build your own computers like I do, or if you're computer savvy, even though your computer doesn't have a serial port on the back, it may still have the serial port connections on the motherboard. And that was my case. So I just bought from Newegg, I bought a little serial port riser, plugged it in. You also have extra USBs, typically 2s and 3s on your motherboard as well. So, you know, don't discount that. You can take the cover off and look in there with the power off, of course, and see if you have that. But like I said, I initially tried it on the USB-S, worked fine, and then I actually plugged it into the actual serial port of my computer. Now, I'm using a no modem cable, a CP3 cable. Actually, I'm using a generic no modem cable, but you can use a CP3. So that's important. You want to know that as well. Okay, so with that said, let's come over here to the computer and let me get things fired up here. Okay, here you can see I'm in Windows 10. I got my device manager open. I got RSLinx open. You can see here I got COM port 1 and 2. I'm in a virtual machine. I've mapped COM port 2 to my physical COM port on my computer. And now let me go to Configure Drivers, and I'll come down here to RS232 DF1. Remember, the KF3 is a DF1 to DH-485 bridge. Okay, I'll add new. I'm just going to add to this KF3-COM2. Whoops, ran out of characters here. Let me see. All right, so let me rename this to KF3-COM2. All right. And now, here's the important thing. If you want to do an auto configure, it's best to hit this drop down and do KF3 in auto configure. And of course, we got to choose the right COM port. And we'll click on auto configure, and it's successful. So let me hit OK, close, and let's browse it. Okay, there's my 1000, my 1200, my 1400, my 1500, my L23, my L63, my L30, which is also directly on it because it has 2 serial ports. Okay, my L23 and L63, you can see here, they both using CP3 cables here. And those CP3 cables are going to the serial ports of the AIC pluses, and then you can see this one going all the way up here to my, this is a no modem cable, going all the way up here to my L30. So that's why I got all those devices there. I also have the 504 serial port set up. Let me move this over to the 504. And we'll plug her in. And we should see the L63 disappear and a 504 appear. Let's see. Yep, there she is. So I ran out of AICs. They're not as cheap as I hoped they were. I did buy a couple, but in any case, so you can see that's everything I have networked here. Don't have the 503 in, but if I could put the 503 in, I would have to shut off. Let's see here. Unplug that. We'll put this back over here into the control logics. We'll yank the 504. We'll yank the blue hose too. Okay. And plug it in here. Now I powered the AIC, 7047 AIC separately. So it doesn't need power from the processor. Okay, and with that all wired up, we should see the 504 disappeared, the L63 came back, and now we should see the 503 as well. So give it a minute to boot up. Looks like it's good. And you can see here, it's at address 3. Okay, so that's how easy it is to use the KF3. I got mine very inexpensively. Works great. You may want to have one in your storeroom. Or you may find one inexpensively online, but they typically run a couple $100 or more, so it's not the best option. So with that said, let's go ahead and try something else. Let's try this generic 1747 UIC. And this is going to go in the USB here. Okay. So let's start with the 503. We'll do a direct connect. Okay, so we will pull the, remove the AIC from the 503. And we'll put this UIC's RJ45 into the 503. Okay. Then we'll come over here. Where's my USB cable? I think I have a USB-S plugged in right now. Okay, there we go. All right. And before I plug it in, there's this little switch on the side. It's so hard to see. I don't even think if I held it up to the camera you could see it, but it's right in there. And that says, are you doing RS-232 or 45? Right now it's on RS-232, I believe. So let me get a small screwdriver. I really don't like this switch on this unit. I think later units have a different switch on it. But, okay, it does look like it's on the 45 side. So, let's plug it in. Okay, Windows has found it, and it's given it COM port 4. So we're going to set this up like it's a Allen Bradley UIC. So let's go ahead and do new, configure drivers. We'll do it as a UIC. Where's UIC? There it is. Okay, we'll do, we'll just do UIC, and then we'll just do GEN for generic, and then we'll do COM4. Okay, get that in there. COM4. Address 00 is open, so we'll let it take that. Close, and now let's see if it's working. Okay, should only find the 503 because it's connected directly to it. Okay, and it does. So now, let's remove it from the 503. We'll plug the 503 back into the AIC. Okay. Come on. Okay. Now we'll plug this into the AIC. And hopefully we'll see the whole network. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? We're not seeing the whole network, which is kind of sad. And that's why I only give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. So that's a direct connect only connection. How about the serial port? What can we do with that? So let's take this out. Okay. And instead of, let's use the same cable that we were using for our L63, and we'll plug it into that. And remember, I got to change this little switch here to change it from RS45 to RS232. There we go. All right. All right, it's starting to come up. You see the 503? Yep, there they are. So the serial port is good for a point-to-point and for a network connection. Okay. If you wanted to see point-to-point, that's the network connection going through right here. We could do point-to-point with a no modem cable. Yeah, I have one right here. And this way we should only see the L63. Okay. Let's see, everything disappeared and the L63 showed up. Awesome. So that's why, like I said, I could only give this generic guy a like 3.5 stars out of 5 because this RJ45 only gets you direct access, like directly to the 503. It does not get you a whole network of slicks, which kind of stinks, but maybe you don't need that. And in which case, the money you save on this versus buying a Rockwell One New could be worth it. All right, so now we have one more to do, and that will be the Rockwell UIC, 1747 UIC, with the C13 cable. Okay, so I'll put it in like that. Again, I would say don't use Ethernet cables, especially a crossover or an uplink. But I would say don't even use a patch cable because have somebody make you up a cable. The pinout is right on ab.com. It's free to access. And when you make up a C13, if you don't have one, you won't be wiring in those power pins. I think it's pin 3 and pin 6. And that way you'll never burn the unit out. If you do use a crossover uplink cable and you plug it into here to here, it'll never work again. And we've had that happen. I've had that happen in my years. So you don't want to be in that situation. So in any case, okay, so let's unplug that generic guy. Whoops. And we'll plug in the Allen Bradley UIC. And we have two choices here. We have DH, let me put this under the camera. You can see it again. I know it's upside down, but that's the switch right there. Right now it's up. It's in DH-485. Okay. So we can see it came in as COM port 8. So let me go ahead and add another UIC. And we're going to call it AB COM 8. Excellent. There we go. Station number 1 is free. Yes. Okay. Close. Okay. It's not plugged in yet. Now, let's plug it into the old 1747 AIC. And look, no problems at all seeing a network across the DH-485. Okay. We can even plug in, well, you know what? Now let's try this in RS-232 mode. Okay. So I just switched the switch. I'll plug it into where the L63 was. And see what we get. Everything should come back. Again, we're going through this end of a CP3 over to here. Yep, you can see everything came back. So you can also do direct connect. Get my generic serial cable with a no modem adapter. Plug it in here. Okay, we'll do a direct connect. Let's take a look at the computer. Yep, you can see the L63 just showed up. And I guess the only thing I haven't done yet, let me switch it back to DH-485, RJ-45, and we'll do a direct connect right to the 503. With our C13 or homemade C13 cable. Very important. Okay. And let's see if we see the 503 come back up. Excellent. So that's it. Now I know, again, Rockwell has some new cables out. I don't have them. If Rockwell wants to send them, we'll definitely cover them on the show. We got new products coming in. We got Siemens products with Mitsubishi products. So a lot to cover here on the automation show. But I did want to go through, since I'm as I've said, I want to update you and show you guys everything I'm doing here with the Studio B demo wall. And I thought today would be great just to go through all the different DH-485 cables and see some live connections and how you set them up in RSLinx. And, hope you enjoyed that. Keep in mind, if you enjoy our videos, you can now get instant rewards when you back us over at patreon.com/automation. And when you log into the automationblog.com with your Patreon account, as a backer, you'll get articles that are ad-free. You'll get access to insider-only news, and you'll get to see videos like this one days earlier than you would on YouTube or on the Automation blog if you're not logged in as a backer. So we just want to say a huge thank you. Some of those backers, you guys have been with me since like the first month I started. So thank you so much. It's really appreciated, and we plan to keep bringing you great content for the years to come. And for anybody considering it, again, the website is patreon.com/automation. I should also thank the automationschool.com. They pretty much pay for everything the backers don't pay for, including the new articles on freelancers right over at the automationblog.com. And, that's what keeps the lights on. So if you know anybody looking for affordable PLC, HMI, SCADA training, check out theautomationschool.com. That's where I work full-time. And I just want to thank you all for watching. We actually broke 8,000 subs. I think we're at 8,200 now, but we just, in the last 30 days, broke 8,000 subs. I want to thank you all for subscribing. Love to hear from you. We have theautomationblog.com where you can comment on this video. You can also watch it. It's the Vimeo version, so you'll have no ads if you watch it there. You can also comment in the blog, in the forums. Theautomationforums.com automatically redirects you to where I moved it. It's at forums.theautomationblog.com now. So you can still type in theautomationforums.com. It'll take you right there. So if you want to get in touch with me, you can do it either way. I'd love to hear from you guys. And with that, that's the end of this week's episode. Until next time, my friends, peace.